to commend Deputy Collins and Deputy Pringle and the independent group for moving this motion. I'd just like to start by saying this whole practice of the government not opposing motions is starting to wear a little thin, because they're not opposing the motion because they agree with it. Sometimes a motion will come to the House which, you know, the government won't oppose, and it's understandable because it could be a motherhood and apple pie motion. But when it's a motion like this, which is actually calling for something specific, and it's very clear that the government do not support that in terms of the CPOing of the land and are not going down that road, then by not saying that, by not putting it to a vote and voting against it, as is their position, then it's a dishonest way of putting forward the government's position. And it really has to stop. And maybe we're, you know, they want to save their backbenchers, you know, a difficult weekend or longer in their constituencies. Maybe it's the screenshot culture of the voting screens going onto social media. Maybe that's something we all need to take responsibility for in terms of how we practice our politics. But it's not right when it comes to a motion such as this, because you don't support this motion, you don't agree with it, you didn't agree with the Social Democrats' motion on it, you didn't agree with Sinn Féin's motion on it, you didn't agree with Alan Kelly when he raised it in Leaders' Questions, you didn't agree with Deputy Ivana Bacik when she raised it as her first, one of her first contributions in the Dáil when she took a Leaders' Question and the Taoiseach Leo Varadkar responded. You don't agree with it. So say that and stand over, be honest with the people, and give the Parliament the respect it deserves on an issue of such importance. And just to go back to last summer, which it was June when there was an all-party motion agreed on this. Again, the government allowing it to go through, and the Taoiseach in his response to Deputy Bacik said, "Oh, well, look, we need to move ahead with this. There'll be delays with a CPO. A CPO process isn't a guarantee either. And sure, let's not let perfection be the enemy of the good." I mean, sometimes the good isn't good enough. And that's what we have here. No one has convinced anyone in this House, including people on the government benches, that the new National Maternity Hospital will be free from religious ethos, whether it be in the termination of pregnancies, assisted human reproduction, IVF treatment. There's been no guarantees given. We can't even get guarantees that there won't be religious iconography on the walls, as there currently is in the National Maternity Hospital, not a couple of hundred yards from where we are now. So this is not an idle motion. It's the exact opposite. This has been going on for 10 years, but specifically for the last 5 years since Minister Harris was Minister for Health, when this has really become a live issue and decisions have to be made, and it's been clear that the government are going down the path of least resistance, and they're taking a gamble at a time when we're 4 years on from repealing the 8th Amendment, and we still have women who are having to travel. We have an assisted human reproductive bill which is going nowhere. We had a general scheme published nearly 5 years ago now. We had a draft bill apparently somewhere in the department for the last 3 years, but we have not had it brought to this House. And there are people all over this country waiting for that bill. People dealing with surrogacy, gay couples, we have widows with the gametes of their deceased partner is all they have left in the freezers of private fertility clinics, waiting for guiding legislation on what can be done with it. These are day in, day out, harrowing stories for people waiting for legislation in relation to women's health. And it's all interlinked to this. And it's almost crystallised in this debate for the National Maternity Hospital. So it's really annoying that when it's brought again and again, like in an even-tempered, intelligent manner, as is this motion, as have been the previous motions, as have been previous contributions, that the government, who I believe that there is a critical mass within government who actually know that this is the right thing to do, but they're not doing it. They're going with the good in terms of the perfect, and they're taking a massive risk. And quite simply, the very basic ask of having a state-owned, state-run national maternity hospital in 21st century Ireland, that we can't guarantee that, is a sad indictment of how far we still have to go. This debate would not be happening in any democracy, any of our sister democracies in Europe at the moment. We would not be having this once, never mind multiple times over the last number of years. Even the clinicians who are in favour of the move to Elm Park are doing so, again, knowing that they can't provide the guarantees. But they're practicalists, they're pragmatists, they're maybe non-political, and they just want to get on with it. But they know that they can't provide those guarantees. They know it. They've said it to us. So there is this sense of the unknown, this sense of risk, and there doesn't have to be. We can follow what this motion calls for, what other motions call for, what the opposition have called for, consistently, intelligently, passionately, but calmly, that we would go down a CPO process. And if it does delay it, then, well, that would be disappointing and would be difficult. Ultimately, we will get a national maternity hospital that is suited to this country, where the majority of people in this country are now, in terms of their politics, in terms of women's healthcare, and in terms of what they need and what they desire for the years ahead. Thank you.
David Shortall.